So this is a Budo, and just to keep it simple, is you're using martial arts training as a technology of self. The technology of self that we're doing is Silk Road derived, and so it's a mysticism. There are other forms of mysticism where you do not do martial arts at all. I mean, there are other forms of mysticism where you do not move at all. So this begs the question, why do Budo? If you look within our practice, it has drills or exercises that are not martial and that do not move at all. And this is why I say, for these reasons, that there are traditions that don't do martial arts, there are traditions that don't do movements, and within our overall Budo, there are those actual exercises and drills where you don't move and you definitely aren't doing martial stuff. What you have to understand is you can do this technology of self without having to be martial, without doing the martial. And I've said that many times. So, drill number 1 is a stillness, silence drill. That's your key practice. Servitude. I'm not fighting people. I'm serving people. Is the key unselfing practice. So again, it begs the question, why the martial? Okay. And the reason you do the martial is because the martial is a confirmation exercise, a confirmation field. I don't think anybody alive today should be surprised that while there are mysticisms that use silence and stillness and that do not have a martial component, there's a lot of fucking liars in those traditions. There's a lot of people that are on the outside are saying and proclaiming one thing, but on the inside are every bit as demon-possessed as someone not proclaiming their mysticism. So your martial environment is one wherein we're going to put you to the test. If you're not sure what that means, there's a line that the Greek author who is recording the Spartan battle at Thermopylae, and they're facing the special forces of the Persian Empire, which went by the name the Immortals. And when the king of the Spartans was told, you're going to face the Immortals tomorrow, get ready to lose, and he says, we're going to put their fucking name to the test. Okay, that's the idea. You're going to claim this immortality? Well, we'll fucking see, okay? Same thing here. You're going to claim this mature spirit that does not get triggered into a selfing state. You're going to claim an agency in unselfing. Then let's put you in the environment most likely to trigger the selfing, okay? The fear and the will to power and the dichotomization of the world. And that's human-be-human violence. And the cushion, while it is perfectly viable, the zafu, And while it can do its stuff, it cannot tell you whether you're doing it or not, which is why you have what in essence are impotent religions to this day. You guys may have noticed this, like, you could release on the ma, right? You're releasing the back pressure on the ma, and we go to a little bit of violence and like, fuck that goes all out the window. Or you might have noticed in your servitude practice that you can say yes up to a point, which means it's just kind of coinciding with convenience, the self, hedonism, will to power, fear, all that kind of stuff. As opposed to, you're going to say yes every single time, there and then. It's not going to be back burner to later. You got that? You start with yes, and then you realize, oh shit, okay, I'm going to do that later. I'm going to get to that later. Do you see? That's not the practice. But you can kind of get away with it, so to speak. You can think in your mind that you're doing servitude. But now you got a good reason. And that's the ego tripartite mind. You got a good reason now why I can't say yes now, but I'll say yes in a little bit. Do you see? Well, there's no such window of self-delusion in the combative engagement. It's over. It's over by the time your ego tripartite mind manipulates the situation where you come out favorable. Okay? You either released and unselfed or you didn't. Okay? So that's why we do what we do, why there is a Budo, why there is a martial aspect, and also why your martial aspect itself cannot be based in delusion, which means why it must be functional, practical, real. And this is the real spiritual problem with the choreographed uke. I don't have a confirmation field in there. That's not going to tell me anything. And when I say that modern ukemi is a usurpation of the ego tripartite mind, that's exactly what I mean. So modern ukemi is just will to power, dichotomy, delusion, lying, do you see? And so it has no spiritual value. Does this make sense? So what I want to do here is just briefly show you things that should have been obvious to anybody who's trying to operate at this level of confirmation, but isn't, because modern Aikido has usurped it and replaced it with selfing practices. Okay? And one of those is a temi. The idea is that if my technique stalls, then I do a temi and then I can kickstart it again. Okay? And within that idea, there is what I'm just for now calling a kind of substitutability between a temi and nagewaza. Okay? And what I learned in that history that I gave you is they're not in the same place. Okay? So those people in my past street sparring classes, I didn't put this in there, but they weren't all Kempoists. What they all were fighters. So my dojo at that time had open training on those days. Tuesdays and Thursdays was street sparring. And everyone in this area, all the way to Ventura and up to Slow County, people would come from all over who just wanted to fight. And we didn't have a style-specific street sparring, in other words, okay? So people were all different things and no thing. There was one guy, he was very good. He kicked the shit out of me for forever. Sorry, I can't remember his name. I should remember his name, but he is so ingrained in me. And really, he didn't ever practice a martial art. He just fought people. And if I were to describe what he would do, and maybe if he described what he would do, it was dirty boxing. It's like, it just cheat in boxing is all he was. So here's somebody, no rank. He didn't wear gi. We didn't care. No rank, no school affiliation, nothing. Bruce, okay? And Bruce would just come in and beat the shit out of all of us for a long time till you learn this more universal system style that you had to develop to fight everybody from different specializing schools, okay? And he was older than us too, so I was in my 20s and Bruce was in his 40s. And, you know, back then, when I was in my 20s, when you were in your 40s, you were a fucking old fart. And Bruce would kick the fuck out of us. And then he always had like these two young blonde women that were in their 20s come meet him because he was going to go play tennis the rest of the night with these totally smoking hot women, okay? So I don't know what Bruce did, but he also would coach us, like get us out of the style, okay? Get us out of style and just be in the moment fighting. Basically, that's a confirmation field, do you see? Because in the style and in the tendency towards the style is the self, and is the self-reification. This is how you have Shu Hari, is the earliest one. Shu is really just self, form, self. And then you have the dichotomy with non-form. Do you see that? When you're in the Shu state of mind, you're in the everyday state of mind, the ego tripartite mind, okay? And Bruce would just beat the fuck out of you every time you did it. Every time you did it, okay? So you had to learn how not to do it right there and then. And there was no, I'm doing it. There was no, I'm doing it, because you got the fuck beat out of you and you're dead on the mat, and the 40-year-old is walking out happy as can be to go play tennis or whatever he was going to do, okay? And in that environment of all these different people trying to get past style, which was not a new idea to martial arts even then. Everyone knew about Bruce Lee and his protest against style. People knew that. That's why my instructor then had this open sparring. You fight everybody. And that's why everyone in there was borrowing and stealing from each other in the goal to try to not get your ass kicked for an hour and a half or 2 hours, okay? As a confirmation field, you can learn what is delusion, what is not delusion. As the cushion has no confirmation field to it, you don't learn that. You get to just say that. And as modern Aikido has no confirmation field to it, again, they just say it. They don't confirm whether it's true or not. So then they come up with ego tripartite mind-derived ideas such as striking and throwing are substitutable. They don't understand they're not substitutable. Okay? If you remember in that environment and in that history, what happened was I learned how to dominate mid-range striking. But looking at it now, that's all that happened. There was a higher propensity towards mid-range striking, not really because of style per se, but just for the nature of the environment. So for example, there was no weapons, right? And there's no multiple attackers. Well, then the safest thing to do is stay in mid-range and dominate mid-range until you gain initiative, and then you would go in for your takedowns and your chokes and whatever. That wasn't Bruce's style, though. He would just beat the shit out of you for mid-range striking, okay? He could do that. If we had put multiple people in there and we put weapons, we wouldn't have people inclined towards staying or centering their art around mid-range striking, okay? But when I started dominating the mid-range striking with Kempo, which gives you way more angles of attack and way more targets than dirty boxing would, people started trying to get around that. And the way they got around it was just bum rush through mid-range striking. Okay? And the reason that worked is because I couldn't strike them while they're bum rushing me. And that tells you that you can't strike where you could throw. It just doesn't happen, okay? If you could strike, they wouldn't be bum rushing you, okay? And so they're not interchangeable. Why Aikido keeps positing that idea is for the following reasons. One, they don't understand that Kihon Waza is not a self-defense technique. It is a form technology. And what I mean by that is these are mnemonic devices that allow information to be passed through history. They're not necessarily a plug-and-play technology. So if you have a form, for example, a solo form, you have all this hidden information in the solo form that as you get more understanding of the form, you start realizing that, for example, that's not an inward block and a reverse punch. So the short form one or long form one in Kempo was step back, inward block, and reverse punch, and you did it at all the cardinal directions, very much like Happogiri. Okay, understand? Okay, and so you as a beginner, you think that you had an inward block, so he did a straight punch, right? It's be right here, and you would go here, boom, boom. Do you get the idea? And so you think that's what the form is. And then eventually you'd go to Mr. Parker, like I trained with Mr. Parker, and then he would have the master key to unlock this mnemonic device that took information and passed it through history. And you realize, boom, this was a break on there, then followed by a rib shot. Do you see that? Where no one saw that first because everyone went here, right? And then he would do the next time. That's actually a neck crank in there, and they start putting it in everywhere, okay? And then the fool thinks, oh, it's a block or it's a break, not realizing it could be pretty much whatever you need it to be, because it's just working on rotation and counter rotation. It's working on forward and reverse motion and how they complement each other. It's working on these concepts, do you see? So if you have a form and you're doing like a technique like this, do you see? And then you go here, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's your story, that's your narrative. When someone grabs you, you step out and you punch him, and then you go here. It's just information, like, bap! That could be the damn end of the technique. Now the mnemonic device is going to go, okay, when you're in this situation, you have this much lean here, and he's here, that's when you can come in and do it. It's not necessarily the case that the strike meant to go with the grappling. Do you get it? It's just, here's more information that we can pass down through space, okay? And people don't understand that about forms training anymore. They don't understand that prior civilizations did not have databases and video libraries and things like that. And a lot of it wasn't even written down. You just memorize this, and then the instructor pulls out the system for you as you're practicing, okay? So I don't even know if O-sensei understood that, to tell you the truth, because, for example, I'm telling you the truth. You can't do the strike where you would do the throw. It's one or the other, okay? And I don't know how everyone that worked after him got the delusion without him not correcting them. Do you get? So why didn't he correct them? Maybe he didn't know. Maybe by his time, he's still doing forms. But if you look at when he's doing live training, he's not throwing the atemi in there. He's just going on with the throw. And no one goes, no one says, where the fuck are the strikes? Why aren't you doing the strikes, okay? So, to show how they're not substitutable and that they're one or the other, even if a form looks like it has it in there, we're going to do an exercise from Ravi's video, okay? So we're doing the Ushido, right? And we have this strike right here, okay? He's coming around, right? Boom. What's it doing? What's it do? It's stopping his motion, okay? And I need that centrifugal energy to get my Aiki adhesion and my spiral rotation of the fight. Do you understand? So if we come around here and I hit here and he stops, well, now you're in mid-range striking, do you see? Right. So here's where you would go on from there. That's what you would do. The fight stopped, and it's now open again to mid-range striking, okay? But let's say he's coming around, boom, and come around for the hand, okay? He's coming around, boom, and where'd he go on that little strike? He went boom, do you see that? And so that energy is now counter to this energy. Do you see that? So, so as he's coming around, rush, boom, and take some things to heart. Now, I'm not throwing it my hardest, or my insides will blow out, but it sent him that way. It's going to be crazy now, as we'll come back, right here, just right there. It's going to be crazy to go like this. Do you see? That's a yang-yang clash there, that you wouldn't do that, okay? Couple things. Why does it look like it works? One, we don't understand the need for centrifugal energy in adhesion and kokyu, in Aiki and kokyu. We don't even know about it. We're just going to do linking, okay? Two, we actually can't throw the strike to displace that guy, okay? And then three, we don't throw the strike. So the guy's just there, right? You're just here. Hi. There's no displacement. Do you see that? Hi. But displacement, boom, and he's not. Going the other way, okay? So throwing it a little harder that time, and you can see the effect of the strike, if it was an actual real strike, takes him out of the technique. Do you guys see that? Now, if you keep going really hard for the other hand, let me put it to you as engineers, what do you think you're going to see? The strike is going to be smothered. So the way to protect yourself on this strike, just do the actual attack, okay? He started pushing on that side right away, okay? Hence, they're not interchangeable. If you were able to get the strike, you're going to knock him out of the technique, and you should just go on with the other stuff, okay? Make sense? Okay, so let's have you guys play with, try to throw it. You're going to see that's a lot of grounding, okay? Because we actually don't strike that way because it's still a yang strike, okay? It's a sucky target also because the target, in terms of the weapon, is, we'll just look at it here, is up here on the chest area, and he's on the fleshy part of my arm, okay? That is why it displaced so much if you could ground. If you could ground, it's going to move him, okay? Elbows to the front here, your only target is the solar plexus here with the spear. Do you see that? So if I'll just do it a little light. Okay, that's a soft target, that'll work, okay? But this one is very much just like a shove because it got so smothered by the target. And for that reason, if you just attack, you'll smother the strike, okay? In other words, if he's trying to smother you're fine. If he's trying to smother, that one got him. Do you see? So that's the spear of my elbow on his solar plexus. It worked, okay? Do you got it? So for those who don't know what happened on the first one, he came head that way, because you see it closed. That would be a miss. So on the second rep, I knocked him on that side, and then boom, and then it goes into the solar plexus, okay? But while I got that opening, you would capitalize upon it with striking. You wouldn't go, let's do it slow. So I'm here, and I hit that. You're not going to go here. Okay? You're just going to beat the shit out of him, okay? All right, so play with this, all right? All right, before we start training, him coming around and smothering the strike is exactly what those fighters learn. Just press through mid-range striking, and they start to smother stuff, okay? So you're not going to like the strike. I think what we're going to see is you're going to get displaced because you can't ground, just like every modern Aikido. That's not an easy one to do, to tell you the truth. But you're still not going to like the strike probably. So the more you hate the strike, just come in faster, do the bum rushing, and you'll smother the strike every single time, okay? So first, take a few, and we're probably going to see the nage move, okay? But after a while, maybe as soon as you hate it or they're never going to get it, then start smothering the strike by bum rushing through mid-range striking, okay? All right, try it. You gotta try to do it. You gotta try to do it. Okay, so here on Bao Qing, we don't have enough force. There's zero effect on it. Do you see that? So let's go again. You're gonna try to get her. You're gonna try to get her. Get her, Bao Qing! No, you're not. Okay? And this would be what would happen to most. And when I say most, I mean like 99.9% of modern Aikido is they don't have the force. They don't have the force output to actually do what we think you're going to do. And what we think is you're going to be so incapacitated that now I can manipulate you in that moment of incapacitation. Do you guys understand that? That's what we think is going to happen when modern Aikido explains atemi. In law enforcement, we have the taser, and we teach to arrest under the neuromuscular incapacitation because the guy's body is like, ugh, right? And when his body's like that, you kind of move it around, okay? But there's no incapacitation on the Satemi on 99.9% of people, is my first point there. And on my second point, if you could do it, it would just move him out of the technique, not open the technique, okay? All right, so let's try it. So that's one thing we saw, is that we just don't have the capacity to actually infringe upon my opponent, okay? Go, keep going. And then so you had the capacity, and it just moved her out of the technique, okay? And so you go, oh, let's do the math though, okay? Let's do the physics. It's just physics, because that's what's being confirmed. Why did it knock her out of the technique?
I have a lot more mass.
Yeah, there's a lot more mass than her. So we up the mass, and we'll see what happens. And he got displaced, okay? So again, 99.9, and really that's just mathematical probability. You know, it's got to be someone fucking out there. I don't know who they are, okay? I've never seen them, okay? I've seen them even in Kempo. There was only one or two people aside from me whose hands actually displaced mass, okay? Everyone else did what Mr. Pitt called pitter-patter, which means you're just touching people. You're not really damaging people, okay? So really the only ones I saw that were not doing pitter-patter was Ed Parker, Mr. Pick, and me. And that was it. Everyone else was pretty impressive in the way that modern Nage are impressive. So you can start to tell, like, nah, that's not going to do what it needs to do, and you go ahead and hit them, and they did not drop or they did not move. Okay, it just looked like it might do it. Okay, all right. So keep going, and we're self-discovery here. And you're going to start to feel how, yeah, it's a poor weapon selection, poor target selection. It's fleshy on a big, broad target, and it's just going to move them out or me get smothered, okay? All right, go to the bum rushing part now, where you just attack very aggressively for the second hand, okay? And just smother the elbow. Good, good. Good. Throw it your hardest, and they're going to smother it. Good. Good. Yes. And switch partners and do more discovery learning. And there's takes some balls, right? Like, because you're like, that strike is there. And again, the people I were fighting with, they were on no shortage of balls, okay? So they just were like, if I run past that, it's kind of counterintuitive, because you want to be cautious, do you see? No, this is violence of action. We're going in and we're smothering that thing. And your safety's on the other side of that fear, okay? All right, continue. Yes. Don't even worry whether you check it or not. Just come around enough. It's going to be smothered. Yes, that's it exactly. Energy went that way. Okay, he did throw it, but energy's still going that way. The strike got smothered, okay? All right. Comments, questions. You can stay standing.
Definitely feel the low quality target.
Yeah, it's a very low quality target, okay? But modern Aikido thinks anytime I do any of these strike pose, you're gonna get NMI. you're not gonna get NMI. It's the exact opposite, okay? Got it? Okay, so don't worry about me, okay? He's gonna come around and he's gonna smother that strike, okay? And you'll see how much easier that stupid technique is, okay? Understand? Okay, so, but he has to come around and not get hit. And now just keep it going. Now you're in Nagewaza, okay? So try that one. Come around like you're not getting hit. Oh, we will start hitting you, okay? Because here's the selfing. So go back to selfing. In your fear now of the fall, you start protecting against the fall. Well, that's not bum rushing now. And now you're open to the striking, do you see? And then we beat the shit out of you in striking, and now you go back to bum rushing. Do you get that? Well, that's your dichotomous worldview, okay? So grab your balls and freaking come in and rush. You're going to fall, okay? There's no way around it. You're going to fall, okay? Try it. So that... Feel that? Did you see? That was your hesitation there, Virginia, okay? This is what you didn't see and you don't see in Ronan and Tristan. Because they don't want to get hit. Do you see that? So they're not going to protect themselves from going out of the frying pan into the fire kind of thing, okay? So you just go for it. Smother, 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 smother. Good. Don't pull. You got to still do Aikido. So you got to lower them in their energy. Yep. Good. Let's switch sides. Chris, you come to this side because he's got it. You're panicking now, Sean, and you're pulling your hand out of her grip. Okay? Go for it. Good. And it's easy peasy, right? Right, Chris? Okay? Go again. We'll watch Chris again. Okay. Don't pull, Virginia. Just stay with his grip. Good. That's it. Okay? Got the idea? Switch roles. Good. Yep. You don't need any fancy stances, okay? You're pulling. He's going to push your hand down. There you go. Yep. Try it again, same side. Just relax. Good. Yep. That's it. Okay? All right. Questions, comments, observations? Yep.
You can feel the panic versus just letting that energy go where that energy wants to go.
Yeah.
And letting the falling architecture, like if I tried to take it that way, you'd probably just go running that way.
Yeah.
But if I let him push it to where there's a point of no return for him.
Yep. He's gonna go. And it's just natural, okay? So we have a senpai kohai ranking here, and we rank that according to skill, okay? And we know from training with each other that out of this group, he's the highest at the internals. You guys kind of trade places back and forth. You're still trying to do things external, okay? And if we look at this allowance, like allow that to happen, he has an easier time allowing it to happen, and it's just stupid effortless at that point, okay? And then we had to talk you into doing it, and then you guys are pulling on their hands and trying to make something happen. And now the technique is as bad as trying to smother it, okay? Why can't you manipulate it and pull it? Because there's too much force on its trajectory, in the same way that there's too much force for that strike to be viable. It gets smothered, okay? So the same thing, there's too much force for you to try to change that direction too radically. You're going to lose connection on the grip and not allow their attack to actually take their balance as you are trying to take their balance, okay? There's just too much force on it. So this is why you have to match the yang value, right? So I call it, you could say match the yin, it doesn't matter. You're matching the energetic value. I call it yang because they're coming in with yang energy, so you have to match the yang value, which means I'm not pulling it, but if I go too weak, it'll collapse my radius, in this case my arm, okay? So you guys are over yanging, and the force is too great for that, okay? You can't over yang this force, and you don't want to. Just let it be, okay? Anything, Andrew? Yeah.
The smallest deviation, it totally instantly falls apart.
Yep. Okay. And then, yeah, because it'll get caught on your head because you're trying to make it do something else, or you come out of the grip. You can't continue the Kazushi angle long enough for the topsy-turvy effect. Okay. All that kind of stuff happens. All right. Now go back to the selfing aspect. It takes a lot of calming down. It takes a lot of, I don't feel attacked. If you have a selfing, you're going to feel attacked, okay? And if you don't have a selfing, you don't feel attacked, and you can just follow that path. If you don't feel attacked, you won't try to manipulate the yang energy, okay? All right. Yeah.
One more thing I noticed too was how this calls into question how much faith you have, because Chris had mentioned it, and I noticed that I reached a point where I just didn't trust it was going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's when I went to that.
And that's what I'm talking. I chalk that up as fear. Remember, fear's not just ghosts. I'm afraid of ghosts, but it's the self that's coming in, and now you can't accept reality as it is, so you're going to try to manipulate it. That's the will to power. Do you see? But that's not our art. That is the other side of nature, okay? The demonic side. In Taoist terms, it's Wu Wei. I don't do anything. They do something, okay? You're trying to do something, not Wu Wei, okay? And then we see this, you're over yang in what is already too high a yang, and you can't do it, okay? You want a second chance at just letting it go, okay? Go back to your releasing drills, and don't get triggered by how much force on the grab or anything. Just and they're just gonna go, okay? You don't have to accelerate them. They're coming in plenty hard and fast. So don't try to cut down. Just get it over your head and slowly lowering it with them as their energy is being vectored towards the ground, okay? All right, try it again. Calm down. Release the self. That would be under yang. Good. Yep. Good. All right, switch roles. We'll give you guys. You got to release. Nagas. Better. Yep. You're fine. There you go. release, accept. You have a kind of acceleration of him behind your head, okay? There you go. Yep, exactly. Yep, you're fine. At the end, you have a vector that you want him to throw. We don't have a vector. He's going to fall anywhere on the clock principle that keeping his balance breaking. Don't go, he should fall by now, because that's where you're young in it, okay? Let me try it again. Just keep lowering his energy outside his base of support. Yep, very good. See, easy peasy, you're going to keep going. You're going to calm down more and relax more. Yep, very good. Yep, good. Okay? Got it? Okay, so so you could be on the cushion, do you see? And you could talk about unselfing the whole fucking time, and they all fucking do. Okay, I'm sorry. They just do. The whole world is sick. Okay? And here, though, we put you to the test. And then you could do it. But now what you need to do is have a practice where it never gets triggered. And you don't need the teacher's aid to get to an unselfing state. Okay? Do you understand that? Because that's not a true practice. That's my practice, not your practice. Okay? Got it? Okay. Okay, the next mistake or delusion, misnomer in modern Aikido is pain. Pain is relative. But like every time you put your hand up there, the modern Aikidoka treats it as a universal generator of NMI, okay, neuromuscular incapacitation. And we know it's not true. It's relative. It's relative to your skill, to weapon selection, target selection. It's not it, okay? It only looks universal because no one in Aikido actually throws the strike. They just go ahead and assume the effect, okay? Pain is likewise relative. So first, to go back to unselfing, pain is a selfing experience. Pain, physical pain, is not experienced from the God mind. And this is why in mystical traditions throughout history, the body is put under that kind of stress where you go from discomfort to self-mutilation. Is they're testing for this ability for pain to go away, okay? Some of you have been close enough and long enough with me that you know that's exactly what I do all the time, trying to deal. So for example, I've mentioned that night with the pain. Like I was in my narrative, what you could have heard was, I can address this pain, but I got concerned with that cardiac event. And really, the only thing that drove me to the cardiac concern was Mary would be very upset with me if I die, okay? Because she would be alone with the kids. Do you get that? So it's not the pain that got me to the hospital and stuff. It's the servitude practice that made me go to where I normally don't go, okay? And she knows that about me. She can't stand that about me because she's afraid. She's afraid of pain, okay? And we probably are afraid of pain too. There was one point at the hospital where, you know, I was hooked up to every single monitor. And I get wheeled into pre-surgery, and the anesthesiologist sees all those stickers on me, and you know, from the probes and stuff, they're all over me, and there's like a lot on my hair here, right? And she's all, I wish they would have took those off, and I'm all like, just pull it off, and she's all, well, I don't want it to hurt, and even Mary goes, he doesn't feel pain. And So the nurse is like, okay, and she's like, okay. But if you release the self and you accept what's happening, your body does not feel the pain, okay? It's no different with emotional pain. Your emotional pain, you always have a physical response to it, like upset stomach, I can't breathe, chest palpitations, all this kind. If you release, you don't feel those things. They go right away. There are things of the ego tripartite mind, okay? So pain is very relative. At the top, you're going to have opponents who could release from that, and you won't have the NMI effect because you're hurting them. And that could go anywhere from they'll let you break whatever you think you're going to break, or the extra time in which you didn't generate NMI, they are out in the stupidest of ways, okay? Which is why Aikido does have joint locks, but we are not trying to induce pain. From the joint lock, we are controlling the center. Do you understand that? So go back to the Nico videos, and I'm moving your body through space, okay? If you can't release, you're going to feel the joint, okay? Go back now to me as uke. You can't hurt me with that technique. Right? There's no pain in that technique, okay? It's not that you're not cranking on it, it's just it's not going to do what you think it's going to do, okay? So here we have, the guy comes around, and we have this, you see? And then you have that pain, okay? Got the idea? And again, he stopped. So you stopped him, so now you generate the energetic problem that's not there, okay? And then he moves because he has an owie. Do you understand that? Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. He comes around, and you stop the energy, and then he goes, ow, 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 and he moves out of the way, okay? So I'm sorry, we'll trade roles. And we're just going to show you this. You got to be calm, okay? You're going to come in. He's going to get it, okay? He's going to crank it. Ow, 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 ow. That's what he's doing, okay? So we'll start over. Come in. Boom. And that's all we're going to do. Okay? So I don't know if the camera got it. Sorry. We'll figure it out. Okay? Coming around. Okay? So here he is right here. Because I have my balance and I stopped, then I have my striking ability. And all I'm going to do is, boom, hit through the grip. That's all you're going to do. That's all you're going to do, okay? So try that one. Go. You got to hit it like you mean it. You got to ground. Yeah, not your own hand. Turn your hips and everything. You're avoiding the pain in your hand. Yep. Yep. You got to stop. He's going to stop you. That way you have your mid-range striking. Hit his forearm, not the lock. Stop. Yeah. Turn. Don't grab it. Just hit it hard. That's it. You brought your rear foot up, so you lost power. Boom, hit. Good. Okay, again, you need to be able to ground, okay? We're doing Nikyo, okay? And he goes, and you're like, okay? Got the idea? Right. And again, what I'm showing you is just the simplest way that once you stop the fight, it goes back into all my strikes are available now, okay? What modern Aikido says is they're going to go, ow, 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 and it doesn't matter that they're imbalanced. They're going to be mesmerized by the pain, okay? So it doesn't matter, okay? So here we are. You see there's no balance breaking. Go until here, okay? Got it? So from here, that's my window, okay? Got it? Okay. So let's say you get in that lock. Get it? Yep, sure. And he goes, you're going to do it. We'll do it again towards the camera. Maybe if you're there. Okay. Boom, he gets in there. Yep, that's it. All I'm doing, look at his grips. Do you see his grips? Stay where you are. Right. And let's just open it up a little. Stay where you are. I'm going to come back out here. Right. Okay? Here's the opening on the thumb. Here's the opening on the thumb. Okay? He's going in, and I just come out that opening. Okay? And it's very quick. He goes, go, go, turn it. You got to turn it, dude. Right. You got to do Nikyo. However you want to do Nikyo. Right. Cool. And I'm out. And it's all. And it's all because I can move, okay? Try it, go. Let him turn it. Let him get there. Be calm. Yes. Okay? All right. So that is why if we were doing, coming around, we don't go back this way. You have to keep his energy going around, you see? And so the pain's there, like you tried to reverse, but it also, with the pain, is that I'm continuing him moving, do you see? And so I'm not stopping the energy because he's not going to be an NMI where for that split second I could do whatever I want to him. Okay, you have to keep the energy moving, okay? So all I'm doing is there's that force and I just keep it going around. It's the same technique on this one. He's here and you just brought it around to here. You're just going to trade hands. That is all you're going to do. Okay? Try it. Yep. Yep. You got to be in the right place at the right time still. You're at the wrong place. You're a little late. Yep. Yep. Trade partners. Yep. 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 Follow that main energy. It's the same exact idea. You got to follow the yang. Better. So do the releasing practice. I still have the lock, in air quotes there. I still have the lock, okay? What you two are doing is you don't have the lock. So go slow, and I'll show you what I mean, okay? You're here, and you're kind of just pulling it. Do you see that? And you're pulling down like that. This energy is doing this. It's going here, which is the lock. Do you understand? So you can't go here and just pull straight down. Eventually, you're going to just be pulling against the shoulder. The shoulder wants to go out. You still have a turn that people think is there. I still have the turn. Okay? Such that if he tried to pick up his shoulder, he'll feel that resistance on it. Do you see? It's just when he tries to pick up the shoulder, keep his center moving, okay? But it's there, okay? Try it again. Yeah.
Sorry, that would be the 90-degree fluctuation.
Yes, yeah. That's all. It's the same thing when we do Ikkyo. You got to do all the angles to get around. This is giving you all the angles, okay? Go. Keep turning it. Keep turning it. You see how his hand is the other way? Look, your thumb has to be on the bottom, your pinky on top. Keep turning it. Keep turning your thumb down, your pinky on top. Turn, 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 turn. Yep. Okay? But notice what we did is they kept moving. If they didn't move, all their strikes would be available, and his counters, as stupid as just overpowering my lock, would be available to them. Okay? What's not available to the realistic person is the NMI. They don't go in NMI like Aikido thinks. Okay? That same problem is in law enforcement. They do a lot of pain compliance techniques. So you can see a lot of videos of people who are high, people who are mentally ill. They can't make a rational decision, and compliance is a rational decision. Do you see that? And then people who are just hyper aggressive. They don't comply. They don't go into that NMI effect. They keep on fighting. Okay? Okay, the last one I want to deal with is the lead follow stuff. In our art, I don't lead them anywhere, and they don't follow me anywhere. They are being made to move from A to B. This begins first with rule number 1 of ukemi. Okay, so rule number 1 is you have to do the prescribed attack, meaning they are first prescribed to move from A to B. Do you understand that? So to demonstrate this, if I am uke and I'm doing ushiro ryote dori, I, by prescription, have to start on the outside here and end over here, okay? It's just the rules. Anybody who stopped along the way did not do rule number 1, okay? Everyone understand that? Okay. After what happens to here, uke does not move themselves anymore. They now get moved, and the beginning of me moving them happens somewhere in the prescription. Okay, got that? So what you have here is a microcosm of this technology of self. We come into the world in the ego tripartite mind default setting. We are a dichotomy. He is staying still, I am moving. I initiate, he waits. Do you see the dichotomy? I am uke, he is nage. What we are doing is concentrically taking the dichotomous worldview and going to the communion worldview. Okay, so in the time that I am doing the fulfillment of my dichotomy, we must stop being him versus me, and he must now commune with me. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. You got to go really slow so you could feel it, okay? As he's coming in, that's him as I yield. Do you see that? Okay, but now you're starting to feel, just stay there and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so I can feel the yang matching here, and you'll see if I change it, do you feel that? Okay? Somewhere in there, somewhere I release the self, and then the communion starts to happen, okay? I don't fight that value, but I'm controlling it. So at this point, you can do whatever you want to his center. Understood? Right. But the technique per prescription, I'm going to work with the guy that's coming from the back, okay? We've now not dichotomous at contact. Here we go. And now I am, and he, however you want to say it, we're moving together, which he's not really controlling the technique anymore. Okay, got it? Let's talk about it for a second, and maybe you could feel it, but what I was trying to show is if I can go anywhere from anything and move his center, it's clear that we're not two things at that point, okay? So I could have projected out, I could have brought him in front of me, and I can control the rate at which he's going around me. Two have become one. Okay, got the communion has happened, Aiki has happened, okay? But I don't know how visible it is or how sensitive you are to feel it. But to me, that's logical. What do you got? What do you see? What do you feel? What do you see?
Well, you can see that we had his center at any point, and
Yep.
that was a product of you and not him.
Yeah, not him, okay? I've just communed with his prescription. That's what you're doing, okay? And the fact that I could change the prescription is evidentiary that we are in a communion state right now, okay? So it's not, even by the time he gets there, it's not the case that he got himself there. Do you understand? He's going to go there at that point, because I'm not going to let him go any other place. While prescription-wise, he is going to go there too. Too often, the Nage, even here, will take advantage entirely of the prescription. And now you're trying to find their center over here, and that just doesn't work. But it is cosmologically incorrect. That's why I always say, at touch, you're already gaining this communion of the Aikitanden. Okay? If to try to find it here at the end, that's where they're going to stop. That's where you're going to need them to stop. That's where you start plug and play this bullshit about strikes and about pain compliance and all that kind of stuff. Okay? Chris.
We've been micro-drilling these techniques and the Arimi videos over the past 2 weeks. And one of the things that constantly is coming up in class is us trying to get away from ready, set, go, and trying to emulate your capacity to already be working with the energy prints on the mat. So it's not even like right now there's Nage and Uke. It's already like there's just one energy print that's being worked with, and then going through rep 1, rep 2, rep 3, rep 4, that entire time, it keeps coming up. And without that, it seems like there's no way to even come close to the right mind,
Yes.
the right...
There's no way outside of choreography, which is why they need choreography. There is no way outside of choreography, because you're always going to be either too late or too early, because cosmologically you're in a dichotomous state, and you've got to try to mathematically figure this out and guess, and that's just not highly likely. Okay, yes, very good insight. Okay, so in a way it's kind of cheating. I don't have perfect timing because I don't have a timing problem. That's the way to solve it. Okay, I don't have to be too early or too late. We're together. Okay, there's no past, present. There's no him, I. Okay, all right. So when we're doing this technique, energetics is just energetics. Again, it's not electromagnetism. And let me be clear, when I say NMI, neuromuscular incapacitation, what I mean is there's no universal technique in which the opponent becomes my slave and lets me do everything. That's not real. So the chi people that have the electromagnetism, and they do that, in that lack of ability, they can be totally manipulated by the Nage in ways that real fighters know that that's not how it works, okay? So leading following is another one of those examples, okay? Instead, if you realize that the connection that I'm going to have here is going to have yin and yang phases too. It's not a universal incapacitation of him where once I touch him, he's like that and you could do whatever. Do you understand? There's going to be a yin phase where the connection cannot be maintained and achieve the same ends. Does that make sense? Okay, in a yin-yang world, that's a fact, but no one wants to acknowledge that. They just get incapacitated, and you can move however you want, or even not touch them. Do you see? This is all crazy stuff, okay? So as we're coming around here, and he's feeling the connection, then it's kind of off here, isn't it, Sean?
Right.
Do you see that? And there's nothing I can do to generate that center connection at that point, okay? Meaning when I'm here like this, okay, And at this point, I'll be here. I'll be in this kind of thing, right? But you know it's not in your center. So he can move any way he freaking wants. Do you understand? He can move any way he freaking wants. So that's why in the Edi Minage, as you're coming around, you have to pick it up over here. Do you understand? Do you understand? And he can't stop because then I won't have the centrifugal energy to generate the adhesion on the outside of his head. Okay? Does that make sense? So you're gonna feel, he coming in. He's gonna feel that, and he feels this. Okay? And it's boom, it just comes around. Okay? If I grab his sleeve, as in Robbie's video. Do you see that? It's just energy. There's too much energy leakage on the sleeve. Understand? Okay. So if he pulls my sleeve, it's even higher on the shoulder where you'd have more control. And as he's pulling it, then I can move all over the place. Got it? I don't have to move where you're telling me. You can't make me move where you're telling me because there's not going to be a center-to-center connection with that much energy leakage. Okay, do you guys got that? So when he's coming around, okay, boom, and I go to the sleeve, you got a couple things. You got all that energy leakage. So watch his center. Do you see? Didn't do anything to it, okay? And then you always have the shoulder hinge. Do you see? Okay? So between the energy leakage of the sleeve and the energy absorption of the shoulder, I could move this thing pretty freaking far in space and never affect the center as long as you stay relaxed, okay? That is just not going to work, okay? So when I go to pull it, with the way that he's staying still, he could also move anywhere he wanted. In the capacity to stay still against my movement, when I go to move it where I feel tension, like there, I can't control where he's going to step. Do you understand? So you're going to pull me around. You know, it looks like I got taken that way. Do you understand? He has that. And again, it's even more control on the shoulder, okay? See, he's going, and it looks like I'm going around. But he can't stop me from moving any old way. Do you understand? Whereas when he's coming around, right, and we're here, he can't go the other ways. He's only going to go that way, okay? So if you pulled and the uke did what you saw him do, you did that, not the nage. Do you guys understand that? And you don't want to do that. So this is why I do these demonstrations. Okay, so we're here and we connect and we let go and we tell him, pull out that way. Okay, we tell him, go forward. We tell him, go backwards. Do you understand? So you feel the resistance, okay? And that was without motion. When you add the motion, let's start walking. And now you feel less ability to change what vector he's on and how he's moving through it, okay? the justification for this is following. But following is not true. Following is that selfing delusion, okay? You need to be made to move by that point in the technique, by Nage, from wherever they touched you to wherever you go. There's nothing you have to do as uke. And so what you should do is follow rule 2. He neither assist nor resist, okay? So if I can't move him there, he shouldn't go. He shouldn't go. I have to be able to move him there. Got it? Okay, so again, this is about uke being brave. So he's going and I'm just standing. Okay? I'm not being an ass, but I'm just standing. He's got to move. Then, now he could learn where the technique actually is. Because he did eventually move me, but you'll never get to Irimi Nage from that technique. Because he went 2 down. Okay? All right, so that's our discovery learning. Just stand still. Okay? Which is way less, there's going to be way less energy you can use when you had the forward progress of the prescribed attack. When you had the forward progress where you're coming in to smother that strike, there's no way, that one wouldn't work, okay? But to get in the ballpark, just stand still, stay connected, don't go soupy, stay connected, and he's got to move your mass, okay? What he felt was, oh, I'm just yang-yanging. So he's trying to find the right angle. Well, that is closer to the art than you yang-yanging. And you won't know that if the uke is going to follow you. Okay? All right, try it. You're just standing. Every step, they have to move you, not you. You don't move yourself. Every step, they have to move you. Every step. So what I mean by every step is don't start falling, because that's that lazy uke. Every step, they have to move you. Not just the first one. Every step. Every step. Every step. Every step. Yes. That is going to make Chris way better. Don't start falling like a Federite. We don't have any energy here. Every step, you are being moved, not falling because they got momentum on you. Every step. Now again. Now again. Yes, now again. Good. Every step. You're bending them too much. You got to move his center, not his head. So this is how we learn Irimi Nage. Good. Follow the 90-degree rule. $90 to that resistance, forward on the rotational spiral. So what's happening is the self is coming up, and then you push on it, okay? So look, here we are, okay? So I have your vertical inertia, the resistance, got that? So I'm gonna go 90 degrees to it. That's all I got. Do you see that? That's it. You keep trying to do it. That's where I got it, and now I'm over yonging because of that foot. Do you see that? So it's on that foot, so I turn and I go this way. There's the foot again. Turn again, 90 degrees. Okay, there's that foot again. Wait, I'll get there. There it is right there again. And I turn 90 degrees again. Do you guys see that? Do you feel that?
Yes.
Okay, what you're doing instead is you go, there's that foot, you push there.
Right.
There's that foot, and I move. There's that foot, and I keep moving. Okay? Try it. Don't try to overpower it. Move, get a new 90 degrees. Move, get a new 90 degrees. Move, a new 90 degrees. Move, a new 90 degrees. Move, a new 90 degrees. Yep, be patient. There's no form you're trying to follow. It's just an energy relationship you're trying to follow. Stay on the front. Don't let his head turn. Don't let his head turn back towards you. You don't give back energy. You're pushing him away. You're letting his head turn into you. So you're here. We'll do it on the same side. Okay? You're here like that, and you're taking him this way.
Yes.
Okay? So there's that foot, Chris. Do you feel that foot? Okay? So I got to move to get a new angle just off of it. There it is right there. Okay? Then the heel is there. Do you see? Right. The heel is there. You feel it? Right. And I move again, and I do another one. Okay? And all you need is that. You don't need the 360s we're doing. We're just using that to prolongate the skill development, 90-degree fluctuation. Okay? All right, try it again. Feel the foot, turn, okay. Virginia, let me see. Okay, so when I go, there's her heel right now. That's her foot right now, okay? And now I want you to fight that angle. Yep, there it is right there. And then you feel the adhesion got stickier. Do you see that? Because I'm doing the internals, okay? It's not that she overpowers me. It's that foot gets driven more into the ground. Well, I want you to feel this, okay? So I go, there she grounded that foot already, okay? And now when you resist, I just internalize. It's not that she got back to where she was. It's not that I started trying harder, but that foot got heavier. Right. Do you see that? And when that foot gets heavier, the next 90-degree angle is going to have a more pronounced effect, okay? So make it light now, reconcile this energy here, okay? And I'll try to release that leg a little more. Lower the yang value even more. There you go, cool, okay? Now the yang value is lower, and you're going to see how indirect the first 90-degree angle is to this thing that we get here. Okay? It kind of takes a while for the center to go, okay? So we'll do now the other one. You're going to do your thing. There's her foot. Then I want you to charge it, cool. And then I do the same 90-degree. Look, her center goes first. Okay, do you see that? So, which is why it works, the more aggressive you are, the more it's going to work, because the yang value goes up. As long as I'm doing the Aiki Tanden, you're now more captured, not less captured, okay? So if you're coming in to smother those strikes, boom, you're getting moved, okay? Does that make sense? But what was the assumption? I can internalize her yang energy, okay? And not come back and meet it and try to push it, okay? All right. See where you get with that one. Try that one. Get to the first heel weight or the leg engaging, and then have them engage it more, okay? See if you can ground that, and then do the first 90 degrees. Yeah. See, it's easier to move them now. It's much easier. Very good, Chris. You got to internalize it, so you can't be moving before you move her. Yes, that's it. And now it's like cheating. Just like the timing trick is I don't have a timing problem. That's how I have perfect timing. It's the same thing here. If I internalize your resistance, then I'm going to have Aiki Tanden. This does not take any strength at all. You're going to be moved, okay? Switch roles, Chris. You got it. Switch roles. Good. Take him to that foot where you feel it, and then he's going to up the yang energy there, and you internalize that, Andrew, and then take the 90 degrees to that. You got glute tension. Yeah, you got to ground your energy too. Ground, ground, ground. Don't smell the head tilt. I don't even want his head to really tilt in this technique, okay? It's going to be over by the time he starts leaning forward. Ground that. So ground you first, Virginia. You got to release everything. You got to unself. You have to stay grounded. Yep. Just wait. Be patient. Take another 90. There you go. Good. Okay, go get your gi top on, please. If you don't have it on. You don't need anything else, just your gi top. All right, so we're going to grab the sleeve, okay, at the elbow, and just kind of go with it at first, uke, okay? So you come in. Okay, she's going around, gets the sleeve. Okay, got it? Okay. Now, the question is, did uke have to go around? Got that? Or am I making them go around? Okay? And the other way of asking that same question is, could uke just run straight out? Because if uke could, then I wasn't making them run around me. I was simply doing my culture of following. Okay, got it? Okay, so you guys are going to come in, that hand's not going to be there, and let's just see you run out of the technique. Okay, go for it. And try to smother that elbow strike. Go back. You got to smother the elbow strike. Okay, so you got to come in with balls. Go. Go, Sean. You can let him grab it. It's not going to be that, you don't have to fight that hard. Just keep walking. Yep. Just keep walking. You're in that selfing state again, okay? I'll go, okay? So this is what I mean. You can grab anywhere. Don't worry if you rip my shirt, okay? You can grab the shirt. It doesn't matter, okay? It does not take much because there's no center connection there. Okay, I just gave you one thing. You could have spun on the inside and do a single leg, a double leg, right? You could have done anything, okay? And all I'm showing is that the only way you walked around is because you followed. He can't stop me, okay? Go. Calm down, but I want it faster. Yes. Try to bring him around, Nage. You got to calm down, Bao Qing. These low drills are early drills where you can generate fear and then release, okay? There's no one is throwing you, and you are actually the aggressor. You're countering early, okay? You're going like this.
Hi.
Just, I go.
Hi.
Do I look freaked out?
No,
Okay. Okay. Calm down. Calm down means release the self. Now start picking up energy while remaining calm. Okay, so again, it's only reason you went around because you did the follow thing. The only reason you did the follow thing because somehow you got incapacitated with NMI, and Nage gets to do these things, which are delusional, which therefore makes my martial aspect of my technology of self an usurpation of the unselfing process. Do you understand? Okay, so this is all a no-no. Very, very wrong.